They could be postgraduates, they are PhDs, but they could only get a job as a sweeper. They were refugees, Hindu refugees who ran from West Pakistan to save their lives, but they were denied citizenship, basic rights. And now you are saying that majoritarianism is there from 2014, when all of you were silent, including me, when our Indian state, democratic Indian state, was trampling upon the rights of Dalits, so much for, emancipation of Dalits. The second example I would like to take is religion. But in particular, when we have Mr. Owaisi, and I hope I won't be interrupted, when we are talking of majoritarianism, how is it that 3 of his legislators were arrested for threatening to behead Taslima Nasreen? How is that not majoritarianism? How is it not majoritarianism when lakhs pour onto the street demanding the beheading of Kamlesh Tiwari because he said something that was egregious? Why is that not majoritarianism? When Mr. Owaisi exhorts, and I quote him, वो जालिम, वो कुत्ता जो उत्तर प्रदेश में बैठकर अल्लाह की शान में गुस्ताखी किया, याद रख, तू आज जेल में है, मगर दुनिया तेरे लिए चूहे के बिल की तरह बन जाएगी इंशाअल्लाह. तेरी गुस्ताखी ने तेरी अपनी बर्बादी को दावत दी है. And then a few months later, Kamlesh Tiwari was beheaded. How is this not majoritarianism? And the same gentleman, Mr. Owaisi, who talks about saving the persecuted minorities or persecuted people from Pakistan and Afghanistan and Bangladesh, the persecuted also include Ahmadiyas. And Mr. Owaisi doesn't consider Ahmadiyas as Muslims. Yes. How is it that you have one standard for one minority and the other standard for completely other, persecuted people? And Mr. Owaisi exhorts Jai Bhim, Jai Meme. Why is it that when it comes to majoritarianism of the other kind, he is completely silent to more than 50 hate crime Muslim mob attacks on Dalits in the past 1.5 years? Why is it when he talks about Jai Bhim, Jai Meme, he does not even once mention what Dr. Ambedkar said, and I quote, Islam is a closed corporation, and the distinction that it makes between Muslims and non-Muslims is a very real, very positive, and very alienating distinction. The brotherhood of Islam is not the universal brotherhood of man. It is brotherhood of Muslims for Muslims only. There is a fraternity, but its benefit is confined to those within that corporation. For those who are outside the corporation, there is nothing but contempt and enmity.
Know a couple shooters that hit you on the block. Ain't a janitor, but I hit you with a mop. Better watch your friends, they...
It's just incredible to see this victim card being handed to snake oil salesmen and women every hour of every day to buy this entity called transfer of guilt. Honestly, I am in awe. I mean, here is Tejasvi Surya, who quotes a Muslim verbatim and without adding his opinion, and yet he's accused of Islamophobia. The fact is that these accusers are the real Islamophobes. They fear Islam. They fear to make public the word of the holy book in its entirety because they fear being called illiberal or hypocrites. They snare the fundamentalists but spare the fundamentals. Otherwise, I challenge these pretend liberals to tell me the prescribed fate in their holy book of homosexuals, unbelievers, blasphemers, fornicators, dress code violators, idol worshippers, and apostates. And let me end by saying, marriage of a Hindu man to a Muslim woman should not be allowed. What happened? You are shocked? You think I'm an Islamophobe for saying it? You want an FIR against me? Well, I have just quoted the order from the Holy Book, chapter 2, verse 221. Do not marry your women to polytheistic men until they believe. आप किस पे FIR करोगे? Or if you condemn this irrefutable, unchangeable order of the holy verse, then say so. I dare you. Better your head on the block than mine.
CBA, never say I've been on my grind for 7 days. Need a race, swear I'll never be the same. TBH,
to realize that, people like Ram Guha, I mean, their credibility is lower than the water table of Jaisalmer.
Well said.
He's like a Titanic.
Well, fantastic.
He was launched amid great fanfare
what
by
a
the
subtle
Lutyens
analogy.
cabal. With the Queen also, inaugurating the Titanic. It sailed for about 5 days and everyone was very happy. And there was like music on the deck and everything until it encountered an iceberg in the shape of social media. That is what is the reality of people like Ram Guha. The topic is on Patel and on Nehru, and of course Nehru was unabashedly and sickeningly vindictive towards Sardar Patel and the whole Congress party as well. I mean, the biggest example of that is that Nehru died in 1964, he got the Bharat Ratna in the 50s. Indira Gandhi died in 1984, she got the Bharat Ratna in 1971. Patel died in 1991. I beg your pardon, he died in 1950 and he got the Bharat Ratna in 1991. This is how Congress treated Sardar Patel. But to come back to this topic, Arnab, last 30 seconds. As far as Nehru denying Patel a berth in the first cabinet is concerned, I'm not very convinced whether he actually did, omit his name. Because, of course, I mean, Mr. Guha's defense is painfully thin and it's completely wrong. But the fact is that Nehru was consulting Sardar Patel as to who the members of the cabinet are. And interestingly, on 5th August, when he gave the final list, and Sardar Patel's name was there, before that, he was consulting Sardar Patel. He had also, very interestingly, given an envelope to Mountbatten, and it actually supposedly contained the list of the first cabinet, ministers.
I agree with you. This is a beautiful debate. I think
it was a blank sheet of paper.
Too many thoughts on my mind, I can't sleep at night, so I just keep writing. I don't need no help, I don't need opinions, so don't waste my time then. I just been living.
Maybe few of my panelists did not get what I was saying. There is a fundamental contradiction between Article 25 and Article 21. Freedom to practice your religion and freedom to have dignity, liberty, life. And I completely agree. I am blown away by the freshness of views of Saira ji. And I agree with each and every one of her views. The only difference is that I am an atheist. So I would agree with her, but she is a practicing Muslim. Her views are in total contradiction to what the religion says. But please let me finish.
You don't know about my religious beliefs, so don't comment.
Are you a Muslim or are you not?
I am by birth, but I am a liberal.
Now let me finish.
Yeah. By birth, aren't you a Hindu by birth? Aren't you a Hindu by birth?
So what I want to say is what she said was...
Are you a practicing one?
Now please, 1 second. Can I just finish? What she said was that the book for India is not Quran or any other religious scripture, but Constitution. Now here is the meta thing. I completely agree with you. But in the Constitution, you have Article 25, which is right to practice your religion. Now, if you have a right to practice your religion that condemns homosexuality, that has a punishment for apostasy, that has a punishment for 100,000 things.
It needs to be called out.
You can say that I have a right. Please, this is not a TV, this thing, please. And I'm agreeing with most of what you're saying. And please don't bring that victim card now, please. So, all I'm saying is I am in complete consonance with her. I agree with all of her views, except that I'm not a hypocrite and she is.
I'm unstoppable, do the impossible. I'm irresponsible, yet I'm phenomenal. I got an arsenal, I'm dropping bombs.
This is a calculated jab by Mr. Sharad Pawar. He is known to weigh his words carefully so as they achieve their intended political consequences. Even he understands. And by the way, the BJP leader, Mungatiwar, has said so much that this is not an either-or issue. And any sensible person would realize the construction of Ram Mandir and the fight against Corona can happen side by side. This is not parallel versus series circuit. So why did Pawar make this jibe? Perhaps to wrest back the mantle of minority appeasement from the now secularized political landscape in Maharashtra. Pawar is in fact following the NCP preamble. Let me explain. Please give me a minute. In 2016, without evidence, he accused the anti-terrorism squad of quote-unquote terrorizing Muslims. The chief minister had to come out and rebut him. By his own admission, he concocted the 13th bomb blast in 1993 to secularize the bombers and make it appear there was a bomb blast in a Muslim locality too, in addition to the blast in 12 Hindu localities. Then he slapped a 100 crore defamation suit on Outlook for publishing the Vora committee annexures that allegedly described his association with India's most wanted. The case was settled out of court. He was instrumental in setting up the Maulana Azad Minorities Financial Development Corporation, among many other schemes that even the Congress was opposed to when they ran the government together. So his appeasement politics is not a secret. What is hypocritical, of course, is that his party is now in coalition with Shiv Sena, that Mr. Pawar has on numerous occasions accused of being anti-Muslim. It seems, Muh mein Ram, Bagal mein Chhuri is the preferred mantra for the Mahavik.